Hi, my name is Pascal and I'm the sales supervisor at Happy Gringo. To go to the Galapagos, you need to have some things first. Of course, your vaccination card for COVID right now, they are asking that to enter Galapagos, but also you need to pay the in-Gala migration card, which is $20 per person, and the Galapagos entry fee, which is $100 per person as well. Usually you pay that same day that you're traveling to the Galapagos, but depending on the cruise, they offer sometimes the option for you to prepay those things, so on that day it's more light for you. So there's no bad season to travel to the Galapagos, and the nice thing about Ecuador is that we're located on the Ecuadorian line, so we don't have seasons like winter, fall, spring, or summer. We only have like 2 seasons in the Galapagos, which is the dry season, which goes from June, July until December, and from December until June you have the warm season. So each one of them is different from one another in the wildlife that you can see and what you can expect, but there's no bad season really, so you can travel all year round depending on your preference. So if you prefer perhaps hot weather, you can travel during the warm season, or perhaps if you prefer better snorkeling, the water is going to be colder in the dry season, so that's probably you can find more the ocean to be a bit more rough, but also in terms of wildlife that you look at in the ocean is going to be better. The animals that you can see in the Galapagos can vary depending also on the season. For example, from January until April, the albatross, which is only seen in Española Island, tend to fly back to mainland, and they start migrating back on April. Of course, it's nature, so you really can't never know. Sometimes they depart a bit sooner in November and start returning in March. Sometimes they don't leave at all, so that's something that you can't predict that well, but usually it's about that time of the year. Then each island tend to have like its unique animals. As I mentioned, in Española you get to see the albatross and also the Christmas marine iguanas, which is a different color of the regular black marine iguanas. In up north in Genovesa, you get to see, is one of the only places where you get to see the red-footed booby. In Floriana in the south, you get to see flamingos, and there's also a small colony of penguins over there. If you're a bit lucky, you get to see them. Then on the west, in Fernandina, you have the biggest colony of marine iguanas, as well as the flightless cormorant, which is endemic to that place. Also in Isabela Island on the west side, usually you get there's the biggest colony of penguins, so you get to see more of them as well. So yes, each island, and in different seasons you get to see different things. For example, in May as well, you get to see the mating dance of the blue-footed booby. So yeah, it's really nice when you tell your sales agent like what are your preferences, so that the sales agent can give you like the best recommendations for you based on what you want to see. So in the last years, the land tour has become more and more popular, mainly because these are not as expensive as a cruise, but of course this can be, it depends on what you want to see and do, the amount of days, and of course the level of accommodation that you want. Mainly what changes in prices, it depends on the accommodation. So if you want something more of a backpacker style, it's going to be cheaper, whereas if you want a more standard or comfort or luxurious, it's going to be of course higher. The nice thing about land-based tours is that you can adapt your traveling dates, whereas cruises have set dates. You can start a land-based tour basically whenever you want. And also you can adapt them according to your needs, depending on the amount of days that you want to travel, the budget that you have, and of course the animals and the wildlife that you can see. There are some places that you can only go on a cruise that you can't travel on a land-based tour, but of course it doesn't mean that a land-based tour is going to be bad. But it's important for you to work together with your advisor so that you can put the right itinerary that fits perfect with your needs. So to explain how a a cruise is, it's better to let you know how a regular day on a cruise is like. So usually you wake up very early in the morning, like around 6 a.m., go down to have your breakfast, and then afterwards you go down to the first trekking of the day, which is around 2 to 3 hours. Afterwards you return to the boat, rest for like 30 minutes, and then go out to do your snorkeling session for 1 hour. Then you return to the boat, have lunch. Meanwhile, the boat will move to the next location, where you'll be doing another trekking. Usually it's a shorter one for 1 to 2 hours, and then depending on where you are, you might even have another snorkeling session on that day. So as you see, you're doing a lot of activities. You get to the end of the day very tired, but of course having visited a lot. So it's very important for you to choose like an itinerary that will let you see the animals or the islands that you want to see. In cruises, there's really not a bad choice. Like, it depends, like wherever you go, you're gonna have a great time and see different things. But of course, if you have a preference, it's better to tell your sales advisor so that that person can recommend the best for you. Cruises tend to be more expensive as well, and they can range from 4 days up to 8 days. But to really get to see the Galapagos, full Galapagos, you will need 15 days, 14 nights, as all of them have different itineraries. So you will need this amount of time to cover everything in the Galapagos. So of course not everybody can travel for that amount of time. So that's the main reason why it's important to tell the person helping you to what are your preferences, so the itinerary of that cruise can match what you want to see. So in Happy Gringo, we divide in 4 categories: our cruises: standard, comfortable, luxury, and super deluxe. In the standard, we can mainly find bunk bed cabins, and of course the cruises tend to be smaller, a bit older as well. The service is nice, and you can expect nice guides as well, because cruises tend to work with good guides. But of course the cruises are more rustic and more basic. In the comfortable category, you get to see different type of accommodations in the cabins. Some cruises have like a combination of twin bed cabins, or a double matrimonial bed cabin, or as well bunk beds. So they usually have like this combination. The cruises might be a bit bigger than the ones in the standard category. In the luxury one, you get to see newer cruises, mainly catamarans, which are kind of more stable ships on the ocean, and also more spacious cabins. All of them have lower beds, either twin bed cabins, matrimonial cabins, and sometimes this can be convertible to your needs. And in the super deluxe category, of course, you can find the most modern yachts, usually jacuzzis, very spacious suites and cabins with private balconies in them. Of course, the beds are lower beds, twin beds, and matrimonial, sometimes convertible as well. So yes, it's gonna be more luxurious, and of course usually the higher category of the cruise, you can expect a better service and better guides as well, because they like to keep their standards quite high, so they spend more in best guides.